Hello.
Yes, welcome back to another expedition of nerddom. Sorry, I'm channeling a little bit of Matt Hardy there for a second. Welcome back, everybody, to Nerd Culture Clash. I am Comic Book Bob. I am joined by my good friend and my faithful steed, Tom the Immortal One Cummings. And yeah, a lot of shit popped off this weekend.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's interesting for people, some people.
Yeah, some people. Yeah, Tom's like, I don't give a shit about any of this. Tom is more of an indie comic book guy, but for those of us who are into the superhero genre,
some big news,
some just like out of the blue stuff, man. It's what everybody's been talking about all week. Freaking Dan DiDio just literally got,
canned.
Yeah, he literally got.
You're fired.
So, yeah.
Literally, by the way, Rob's got new toys this week, so
yeah, the old dumbass learned something. But yeah, he was literally on a show on Friday, and the following Monday, gone, like that. So and they're trying to do. So they're trying to do the typical thing, where it's, oh, by the way, welcome to the show, everybody who comes in and watches. Everybody comes in and leaves a comment. Thanks for that. Please like, subscribe, share this out. Anyway, back to that. You don't go on shows hawking for this company if you're come to a mutual agreement and then you're leaving 2 days later. Okay, he got fired. All right, they straight up came in and GL Prime 2814 said, well, at least you didn't pull an RGE and wait 10 minutes after the stream is supposed to start before actually starting. Yeah, it's just, we just go off, man. That's just the way it works. But thanks for being here, by the way. Appreciate it. And but yeah, so let's I'm gonna go ahead and pull up. Let me pull up the screen here and pull the first one up here. Where you at? DiDio. Here we go. Share. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and take a look at this and read this as it comes out. Hollywood Reporter was the first ones to report on this. Not the greatest site in my opinion, but got to give them credit for being the ones that hit it. DC's Dan DiDio out is co-publisher. The industry veteran had served in the role since 2010. He's been in that role for a long time, dude. And he had actually been an editor with DC for longer than that. So DiDio served as publisher for DC alongside Jim Lee since 2010, following a 6-year stint as VP executive editor, and prior to that, VP editorial. Get rid of this crap.
Yeah, he has been there a while.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's been there. He started there like almost 2 decades ago. So he's been around for a while. But as a publisher, DiDio is one of the main figures behind DC's 2011 line-wide launch, The New 52. We'll get into some of that in a minute. Which saw the company provide a contemporary makeover to its entire superhero back catalog. Initially a sales success, both sales and buzz faded to the point where 2016's subsequent line-wide relaunch under the banner DC Universe Rebirth restored many elements dropped in the reboot. So it's kind of 6 one way, half a dozen another, depending on who you talk to about whether or not they think New 52 was a success or not. I don't want to, and let me make this very clear. I crap on Dan DiDio a lot. Okay, Dan DiDio. Some of the decisions that Dan DiDio made were stupid. Some of them were just dumb, and a lot of people they point and say, well, it wasn't all him and whatnot. The problem is we've all seen the board. Okay. And I was actually trying to find pictures of it and I couldn't find any of them, so I can't throw it up there. But when New 52 started coming out, was leaked, and And some of the things that they were doing started coming out, and a lot of people were going, wait a minute, who the hell's responsible for this? A picture leaked, and it was a picture from Dan DiDio's office. And in his office, he had this big whiteboard, and on it was like all the things that they were going to do in New 52. And this is all stuff from Dan. He was the driving force behind New 52. Okay. Even though a lot of people came forward and made comments and said, this person had this input and this person, Dan DiDio, New 52 is Dan DiDio's baby. All right. And some of the things that he had on that board really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way as far as fans. Like one of them was he didn't want heroes to be in lasting relationships. So one of the first things he did with New 52 is he erased all the marriages. Superman and Lois Lane was the biggest one, obviously, but he also erased all the major relationships: Dick Grayson and Starfire, Black Canary and Green Arrow. All of it was gone, and it was because he had this personal philosophy that heroes aren't supposed to be happy. Dan's one of those guys that thinks everybody should be edgy. Another thing was like there was a list of people he wanted to kill. It was like, and there's like Wally West and freaking like the Wally West and his entire family just disappeared, completely gone. So it was like, what the hell, man? But then there was the big one was he wanted to kill Dick Grayson, and then but the people who were writing Batman time were like, no, you're not killing friggin' Nightwing. And which is one of the things that we'll touch on a little bit later, because after they retconned New 52 out of existence, they kind of did this thing where they gave him a consolation prize, and he started his own new line called the New Age of Heroes, which largely most of those books actually failed. A couple of them were actually pretty good, and this is the thing I want to put forward before I go any further is, like I said, I give Dan DiDio, I give him a lot of crap, but he does have good ideas. The problem with Dan is that on the creative side of things, for every good idea he has like 3 bad ones. You know what I mean? But that's just as a creator. As an executive, from what I understand, the vast majority of people actually really liked him. And as far as creators are concerned, like artists and writers and whatnot, he was a really good friend to the artist and the writer. Like he went to bat for them a lot. So we don't want to crap on him too much. I am going to crap on him a lot, but I don't want to crap on him too much. Because the guy, he does generally seem like a decent guy. And but as we're going to see as we go into some of these articles, there was a power struggle going on. But let's go ahead and get back to the article here, because sorry for going on that tangent, but when the New 52 thing came up, I was like, I got to talk about that. Restored many elements dropped in the reboot. DiDio's departure comes ahead of an announced further relaunch of the DC comic universe that will restore even more elements removed as part of the 2011 reboot, as teased at New York Comic Con. While the project has not been officially announced, certain stories that were reportedly tied in include DC Comics Free Comic Book Day release Generation Zero, Gods Among Us. It's unclear if plans for this relaunch will be delayed or canceled in the wake of this news. From what I understand, and that goes into a couple of little things in here, like his past career and whatnot. So with this article, we're gonna head. That's all we need from that article. But from what I understand, the DC's plans going forward is one of the reasons why DiDio was removed, because there's a lot of Warner Brothers has a lot of projects coming out, and one of the things that DC had on their slate going into further into this year was the 5G company-wide thing that they were going to do, which was basically going to they were going to, and I don't know why they were doing this. Basically, they were going to take all the characters and they were going to age them up to where they should be according to the beginning of the characters' lives. So basically, Batman was going to be in his 60s.
60s?
Yeah. Like he was going to be like remember the show Batman Beyond?
Well, I was about to.
He was going to be an old man. Well, he was going to be an old man. He's going to like in his late 60s. They're
Well,
going.
I was like,
They're starting from a certain point and going up. They're not
Okay,
going all the way back.
Because Batman's more like 80 or 90.
So basically what they're going to do is, and again, we'll get into some of these details and everything, but 5G was kind of DC going to Warner Brothers and saying, listen, we're relevant. You guys, we're good for you guys, because they were really concerned because a lot of projects from DC, a lot of the like I said, Birds of Prey just took a crap. Comics are not selling very well. The sales are not great, and AT&T has actually been throwing around the idea of either selling them off or breaking them up or just flat out just getting rid of DC Comics. So this 5G thing, which by the way, 5G cell phone company, AT&T, who owns Warner Brothers and DC, like nobody could see that crap. But this was kind of their big push, trying to make themselves relevant, but they went in the wrong direction. They were basically doing the same thing that Marvel did with their Marvel Legacy line, which was, you've got movies like the Pattinson Batman movie is a big deal. They need that thing to hit big, and then they've got a bunch of other animated things coming out. They've got video games coming out. So the idea of taking these characters that are recognizable and replacing them with other characters is not a good idea, because that's what 5G was going to be. New people were going to be taking over the roles of these characters, and I got a whole nother thing I got to say about that. But Warner Brothers and AT&T we're like, no, that's a terrible idea. We want them to gravitate to these characters because they know these characters, they know who they are. If they go into stores looking for stuff, like looking for merchandise and whatnot, and you guys,
Superman's not there, then
Superman's some other person, or it's like this is not a good idea. And that was one of the big problems with Marvel's Legacy line was, you've got these movies that are just absolutely exploding, and some young kid and his dad go into the comic book store and say, hey, my son really loved Thor. Can I have where's your Thor comics? And like, oh, right over there. It's like, well, what the hell is this?
Yeah, who's this?
That's Thor. Well, no, this is a woman. Who's this? Wow, where's Thor? So it was just not a good idea. You go ahead and stop sharing that screen, and we will share the next one. Real quick, I'm just going to go over the GL Prime said DiDio was just terrible at his job. If you read the Green Lantern Rebirth Omnibus, you'll see how little he actually knew about his characters. I think the problem was that for Dan was one of those guys that didn't see the characters for the characters themselves. He saw them for properties that could be used. You know what I mean? When he became the editor, he wasn't doing comics for the sake of comics. He was doing comics that could be turned into movies. Yeah, movies and television shows and whatnot, and video games. They weren't comics for comics' sake. And I think that was a big problem with New 52. New 52 was designed to be this brand new thing, this modernized thing that could be turned into television shows and movies and things like that. So, and to be fair, it wasn't all him. There's another guy there, Jim Lee, who's, the co-editor along with him. The difference is that Jim was that guy who wanted to be creative, and he wanted to work on books. He wanted to be the hype guy. He wanted to be the Stan Lee for DC Comics. He didn't want to have a whole lot to do with the day-to-day, which is and that he pretty much just left all of that to Dan. And he just wanted to have some creative input every once in a while. And then he would go out there and he would be the big comic creator, the guy who was, everybody liked him. And he would be the hype man. But so Dan was the guy who was largely in charge of the day-to-day, I think. And of course, this is all coming from outside. We don't know because we weren't there, you know. We're just comic book fans. But real quick here, go ahead and share this next one. So this comes from somebody who is because there's a lot of doom and gloom going on around about what this means for DC Comics. There's a lot of, and we're going to get into some of those rumors as well. But this comes from Bleeding Fool. It says, a comic fan should chill out. Dan DiDio's firing isn't the end of DC Comics. Want my opinion on the firing of Dan DiDio and the fallout and or potential demise of DiDio comes, as you know, honestly, I think everyone needs to chill out well, I'm not going to say that. Over the past few years, I've seen everyone become so cynical when it comes to comics, which it's hard not to. Have there been rest buffs? Yeah. No argument there. And Heroes in Crisis is still one of my favorite. Oh, my God. All right. You just lost a lot of freaking
credit
respect from me right there. Heroes in Crisis is an absolute abortion. Yeah, I've got a video I'm in the middle of working on talking about Tom King, and that book was dog shit. Absolute dog shit. So, but I don't for a second believe the rumors that if 5G fails, it's all over. So that's the other rumor, is that if 5G goes belly up, which it's almost guaranteed to, that they were going to axe DC. Now, I agree with him on this sentiment. That I don't think that that's going to happen, but I do think that I don't even think 5G is going to happen at all at this point, or if it does, it's going to be seriously altered. Or that DC is going to be closed and licensed out to Marvel or something. That's another rumor that's going around. Guys, come on. In all honesty, what sense does that make? Why would AT&T feel that that was a better option? It's okay to license certain books like Marvel does but it's not the entire brand. I disagree with this. I think that farming these books out is exactly what they're going to start doing. But anyway, he pontificates a little bit. I think all this boils down to something people have been incorrectly presuming. They think the sales are the result of some recent firings. The biggest one people conflate with a sales trend was the firing of Axel Alonso, but it had nothing to do with the sales. Yeah, it did. Everything there had to do with intellectual politics. Alonso was a key figure in the Marvel group that gave Kevin Feige hell, and he was already making enemies at Disney. Yeah, he was making enemies at Disney because of internal politics. But it was also because the books weren't selling. You can't say that. Here's the thing about Disney. Regardless of what anybody thinks about them, one thing Disney ain't about is losing money. Because the dollar is king at Disney. So the idea that Marvel, who was largely tanking, whose books were just not selling well, that their sales had nothing to do with Axel Alonso being removed, that's bullshit. Axel, love him or hate him, was an idiot who brought it upon himself. Yes, he did. But the sales did have an effect on that. If I understand, the same thing is happening to DiDio. It's more of an internal politics reason, more so than it is sales reason. I disagree with that, but we do know that there is an internal power struggle going on, and between him, actually, it's between him and three people. It's between him, Scott Snyder, and Jeff Johns. So we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. GL Prime says in an interview about the book, he mistook Kyle for Hal and didn't know Guy Gardner no longer had a yellow power ring. How could he know this? How couldn't he know this and be in charge of DC Comics was almost an insult. Yeah, I think what it was is, if it wasn't something that he himself was directly interested in, I think he just didn't give a shit, you know? I mean, I hear a lot of people give him, but here's this thing though. Like I said, I think he was a good executive, but I don't think he was but when it comes to the creative side of things, I think that's where he has serious fallings. I think that's where his fault lies. And a lot of it might be the fact that he just wasn't as versed in the characters as he should have been, which is something that a lot of people have brought forward, that one of the reasons why a lot of books suffer is because editors aren't really editors anymore. They're glorified secretaries who just make sure everything gets to print on time. Whereas they used to be, they were like the keepers of the characters. Like they had they used to have style guides for characters. Like if a character isn't drawn according to this style guide, go back and do it again, you know? And also like certain types of dialogue and the history of the character. If things didn't fit, they told them, you got to go fix this. Well, they don't do that anymore. This is the reason why you get so many continuity errors. So there might be GL, there might be something to that. Like I said, we're largely on the outside looking in here. So all we can go with is the information that we have. So I can see what you're saying there. But I think there was a lot more. I think there were a lot of other reasons for this coming down. Then you can see internal politics. This could begin the improvement of the DC Comics brand. What could the sales of 5G be? How could the sales of 5G be the final straw for AT&T to give up on DC? Also, more importantly, how much would AT&T really gain back by shutting down DC? Peanuts. Here's the thing, though. When you're talking about large corporations like this, one of the things that they're all about is cutting costs, trimming fat. And if the comic book division isn't providing you enough of a reason to keep it open, if the sales aren't high enough, now, yeah, granted, it's advertisement, but it's not being used as advertisement. It's not purely advertisement. It's actually an intellectual property. It's a business, and if the business isn't living up to standards, you're not going to keep going with it. You're going to cut it off. What a lot of people, what I think is going to happen is eventually, if something doesn't give, if they don't sell DC or they start, I think what they're going to start doing is they're going to trim down their monthly books to almost nothing. You know what I mean? They're gonna trim them down, and they're gonna farm out like their main characters, like Justice League, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash. The main books, they'll farm them out, kind of like what Marvel does with IDW. They'll farm those books out, let somebody else deal with the headache of printing them and writing them, doing all that stuff, and they'll just rake in a dividend, and they'll have those things out there. You still got books circulating. The names are still out there, whatnot. And all they'll do is they'll just make trades of the old stuff, and then hang on to the intellectual property and keep that for themselves. That's what I think the eventual situation is going to be if something doesn't come of this. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you think, man? Like as far as a company is concerned, that's one of the first things that they do, whether or not people like it or it entirely makes sense. If they think they can save a buck, they'll kill it.
Which, unfortunately, I mean, DC, it may not be what it once was, but like you said, it still has a ton of intellectual property that can still make money. Hopefully if they farm it out, it'll get into the hands of somebody that can actually, make it work for them. But I don't know, that just kind of, well, they got the picture of the Joker there, maybe with the success of that, they'll realize that, yeah, it can work. We just have to come up with and follow a formula like Marvel did.
Mm-hmm.
At least as far as the movies are concerned. As far as the books are concerned, yeah, you've really got to work on that. Continuity is a thing. Like you've said, I love what I love. If you keep making it, fine. But it's kind of like the movie thing where, we have a book, we're going to make it into a movie, but we have to change it so that people will watch the movie. It's like, no, it's a good story. Go with what you got. People that like the story are going to go see it, and they won't say it's a load of crap afterwards because it's not the same as the book they read, that they were going to see the movie of that book, and they wanted it to be at least close to what it was.
Yeah.
So you know, when you're going through, you know, like I said, like the continuity of a character, keeping the character, it doesn't have to be this character is this character and he never changes. Nothing is ever different about him, because that would be stale. But you do have to.
There needs to be some kind of consistency.
Yeah, some consistency to really just sit there and, you know, story arcs do change people, but you're still fundamentally the same character. That's because that's why people are reading that character. They like the story he's been in so far, the way he reacts in situations. You know, I know they've done it with Superman in several, like, what if alternate timeline things where Superman goes evil. But for the most part, Superman is the Boy Scout. He is the guy that is good. Because if he's not Superman anymore.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that, you know, I get changing things because some things just don't translate to film. They just don't.
Yeah.
But when you alter something to the point where it becomes unrecognizable, there's no point in actually even doing it.
Well, like I said, if you have a fan base and you're making a movie, or you become in charge of this fan base, whether it be a novel series or comic books, when you translate that to another medium and you get rid of the essence of the character or the essence of the story, it's going to fail.
Yeah.
Because the reason you're making it in the first place,
you know,
the reason you're making it in the first place is because a certain segment of society likes this.
Yeah.
So they're going to go see this movie. But let's screw it up to try to get more people in. So we're going to get rid of the fan base and hope it appeals to somebody else. That doesn't work. Just like if you're put in charge of comic books and you have these characters that are iconic, that have been around forever, and you're just killing them off, or you're changing their persona, their personality, you know, like to the whole, everybody's got to be angsty. Nobody can be happy. Well, nobody's happy. Why do I want to read it?
Yeah, that's the whole.
I could sit in my room and cry all by myself.
Yeah, I mean that's been like all these books where they deconstruct characters. You know, I'm like, why do I want to watch my heroes be turned into me? You know, I don't have to. And more importantly than that, and this is a big thing, I don't have to spend money for that. I could just go outside.
Yeah.
You know, look in the mirror. I could pick up a newspaper. I don't have to spend $4, $5, $6, $7 a pop to read about my heroes being reduced to me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that, you know, that's something that I don't understand. That's why I disagreed with Heroes in Crisis, because that's all Heroes in Crisis was literally breaking our heroes and turning them into us. But there's a whole lot. I mean, obviously there is a whole bunch of reasons why this is happening. There's a whole bunch of reasons why the firings happen. There's a whole bunch of reasons. And one of them, and then another one that he actually he touches on here is that AT&T, there's a lot of talk coming out that AT&T is having money problems. That with the changes in technology and the competition that's out there, AT&T is having some issues. So that's, again, when you have a major corporation, a major international conglomerate like AT&T, the first thing that they do when you start having any kind of money issues is they start looking where they can just cut things off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the idea of them basically cutting down DC and reducing it and like keeping, obviously they're going to hang on to the intellectual properties. They're not going to let anybody take that from them. The TV shows, regardless of whether we like them or not, they still do fairly decently. They still pull in, you know, well, most of them, some of them are just absolutely dismal. The ratings are dog shit, but like the main ones, and then also new stuff that they're working on, you know, video games, other properties, stuff like that. That kind of stuff, they're always going to have reasons to keep that stuff. But as far as the actual comics themselves are concerned, why do they need to keep printing stuff, new stuff, and having to deal with all of that overhead themselves when they could just farm their main properties out to other companies like an IDW or something like that, let them deal with those headaches, let them deal with all that. They just rake in a little bit of cash, and then they get to hang on to their intellectual properties and do their movies and their video games and their television. They don't have to. DC Comics doesn't have to exist as a full entity. It could just be a brand that they own. And so this article, I think, is woefully half glass full. In other words, real quick here, Lost in Comics, thanks for stopping by, buddy. Appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in here, and then we always do this, guys. I always drop the StreamYards link in here. If you've got StreamYards, if you want to come on and actually talk to us, there's the link. Feel free to drop in here. But yeah, this guy, he makes a couple of good points, but this idea that everything is rosy over there is that's wishful thinking, man. So we'll go ahead and kill that there. Oh yeah, we're going to be talking about this. I am so sorry. I suck at names, but yeah, we're going to be talking about that too. The Bob Iger thing. But let me go ahead and kill this right here real quick here. I think this is the same guy, but we'll go ahead and throw this up here because I wanted to talk about this one as well. Dude, I apologize, dude. I suck balls at names. But farewell to like I said, Ethan Van Sciver actually did a video on this as well, and I know Art T. Bear did one as well. A couple other people, a lot of people like Dan. As a fan of some of the things that, as a fan of certain characters that he took a crap on, I wasn't the biggest fan, but there's a lot of people that really liked him. But so real quick, this says farewell to Dan DiDio from one disappointed DC Comics fan. Dan DiDio, the now former co-publisher of DC Comics, is certainly a man of controversy when it comes to the topic of comics, especially DC Comics. So when news came out Friday, blah 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 blah, many fans rejoiced. I was one of them. Again, I don't want people to lose their jobs. I would rather he had been like, you know what, maybe this isn't a good idea. We're going to fix this. That's the kind of thing I want to happen. I don't want people to lose their jobs and get fired. Many others were upset, which is to be expected when things like this happen. So what will be the rifts and revelations that will come out of this? Oh, so right here, we got a little snippet of the hit list that Dan DiDio had. So I'll get into that in a second. The question that remains are who will be taking over and what direction DC Comics will take after Dan DiDio is leaving. Me personally, I want I would like it. I would like it to be Jeff Johns, man. I would like it to be Jeff Johns. I know a lot of people are like, I know a lot of people are like,
oh, hell no.
But me personally, I like Jeff Johns. And I'm going to get into that as well because, like I said, there was a power struggle involved with this. Jeff Johns was part of it. I don't know exactly who's going to step in. Some other people, there have been a lot of suggestions, but he was one of them that I would like in there. Real quick, this said, I'm happy that Dan is gone. He always had it out for Nightwing. Yes, he did. And that's one of the things too is so let's touch on the hit list here real quick. As for any further revelations of the full details surrounding Dan DiDio's leaving, I would give it between 3 months to a year and a half before we learn all the negatives and positives resulting from Dan's firing. I actually think it will be less than 3 months. Okay, so one of the big reasons why so many people are hot for Jeff Johns, for Dan DiDio to take a hike, is the hit list. So right here on the hit list, at the very top, kill Superman's marriage. Spectre kills Shazam. So no more Captain Marvel. Dr. Fate, dead. Okay. Scott Free, Connor Kent killed. Kill all unused Young Justice. Yep. Atom Smasher. Nightwing was circled. Martian Manhunter. He killed a bunch of characters, man. But the reason why Nightwing is circled is he really, really, really wanted to kill Nightwing. But the creative team at the time were like, nope. They were like, screw you, man. But he and this is just a snippet of it, man. Like he had a whole hello, sir, Mr. Dillard.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, man? Sorry I didn't see you there for a second there. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you coming on, man. So did you work for DC?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say, because I was hoping I could get somebody on here that had a little more inside knowledge than I did. But what do you think about this whole situation, man?
I don't have any pony in this race.
What the hell are you here for then, man?
I'm just saying that DC ain't gonna hire me. But I think it's a good thing. I don't like the way the stories were going. I think they're not very exciting. They haven't been exciting in a while. I haven't been like thrilled for a book for a very long time. And the thing is, it's unfortunate because it's one of those positions that it's the ultimate, ulcer creating position. And those positions, the 100% of the blame falls on you all the time. But, and because of that, eventually you do need new blood because like an air traffic controller, you get burnt out and you stop doing quality things.
Yeah. Real quick, I just want to give a shout out. Michael Brent, Lost in Comics. Everybody, thanks for that. Yeah, dude. Oh, good, dude. Lost in Comics just mentioned killing Alfred. Oh, yeah. I got a video I'm working on, man. Oh, I'm not happy about that at all. Real quick, just in the chat here, he was headed out for Nightwing. Lost in Comics, man. I would truly love if John took over. Yeah, I would too. The situation where Jeff had issues in Hollywood, that was not his. A lot of that was not his fault. There was a lot of politics going on in that situation. Lost in Comics said killed Alfred. Yeah, dude. God damn it. I was so freaking mad about that crap. I prefer non-DC and Marvel superheroes like Captain Planet, Danny Phantom, Ben 10, Savage Dragon, Freakazoid. Dude, I love Freakazoid. You could never do that show today. You could never do Freakazoid today. Gen 13 and Spawn. Yep. You would never be able to get that show off the ground today. This is it. Dan DiDio got Paul Dini fired from DC Comics. Yeah, there was a lot of inner office politics going on, and I think a lot of that is what led to this. But real quick, we'll just go back into this here again. Stepping out sideways. As a fan of the character Derek Drains, who was called Sideways, I actually did like Sideways. It wasn't breaking any new ground. It was obvious that it was trying to pull from Spider-Man. As a character, I thought it was fine. The artwork was beautiful. It's Kenneth Rockefort, and I love that guy. And I'm an art guy first. Like I'll freely admit that. I'll buy a shitty book if there's a really good artist on it. Mm-hmm. And Sideways had one of the best. I mean, Kenneth Rockefort. Are you familiar with Rockefort?
Dillard? No,
yeah.
No, I'm not.
Oh, dude, man,
I didn't actually read the first Sideways though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, he's the artist on Sideways.
It was very well drawn. Yeah.
Yeah, I dig his art, especially he does his own colors, and it's got like a kind of a watercolor feel to it. I just really like it. But this is one character that Dan created recently that I actually enjoyed. If this series came out bi-weekly and made it to 50 issues, I could have been more sympathetic towards wanting Dan DiDio to stay on. But for me, Dan shot himself in the foot when he stopped Sideways Run too soon. Dan shot himself in the foot with a lot of things. This customer was already disappointed and displeased. I meant he took the time to create. So farewell, Dan DiDio. I want to thank you for bringing out the character Sideways. However, if I'm being transparent, I've actually met some customers and fans who weren't too fond of the character side because your name was on it. I didn't have a problem with any of the stuff that because his name was on it. I had a problem with it because 90%. Well, I shouldn't say 90%. 75% of the stuff he did creatively was dog shit. I can only wish you well in your future endeavors outside of DC Comics. Yeah, I don't want the guy to suffer or anything. I don't want him to, I don't. Like I said, I would rather people realize what they're doing is a mistake and then course correct than get fired. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. Michael Brent said, Animaniacs has come back on Hulu, and He-Man is getting another shot at an animated series on Netflix. I don't trust Netflix with He-Man for.
Dude, have you seen the cast they got for the He-Man?
The voice cast sounds great.
Yeah.
I don't trust the writers. Same thing with Animaniacs, dude. I don't trust them to do that show right. That show was amazing.
Well, with Animaniacs, yeah, but I mean, it would be hard to screw up He-Man. I mean, go back and watch that. It's some basic stuff in that.
That's the problem. If you know how you screw He-Man up, you overthink it.
Yeah, that could do it.
And considering what they did with She-Ra, I got no trust in them whatsoever. Voice cast is amazing. They got a fantastic voice cast.
Yeah, I've heard some of them.
But I mean, and hey, I would love to be wrong. I would love them to put something out. I mean, I was wrong about The Witcher. I thought The Witcher was going to be absolute crap. It's awesome.
They did a good job.
But DiDio killed a lot of stuff like Vertigo. Dude, Vertigo got its throat slit. But before he joined DC Comics, he almost killed the Transformers franchise. I wasn't aware of that. You guys know anything about that?
I ain't heard anything about that.
Yeah. Anyway, but all right. So there's that little tidbit of information from a person who actually liked Dan DiDio. And like I said, from what I've heard from a lot of people, they said that he was a decent guy, that he would go to bat for talent when they had issues. But it also sounds like he had some serious inner office politics going on.
And I just got to laugh at the moment because I have such a compulsion right now to try to sit so that this matches my body.
John
Robin's
Screen?
butt.
Oh, Robin's butt. Hey, man. Friggin'
I just saw that and I'm like, how can I get myself?
But Michael Brett, Jeff Smith's Bone comic is getting a Netflix series. Yeah, dude, I saw that.
I hope they do a good job with that.
Again, that's another one. I'm like, if they Netflix is they're either hot or they're cold, man. They either do it, they do an awesome job, or it friggin' sucks. Like, you either get The Witcher or you get Death Note, and Death Note was a piece of shit. But again, I don't.
It looks so bad, I didn't even watch it.
Dude, have you ever read the original Death Note?
I got self-control.
I mean, have you ever read or watched the original Death Note?
Yeah, I watched it. I didn't read it. I don't read manga.
Yeah, but the Netflix version was like
it looked like it. I don't understand anybody that says I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm like, what? Can you not trust your own eyes? I mean,
yeah, this was basically my opinion of that show.
Everybody knows you never go full retard. You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
That was basically my opinion of that freaking show.
You're loving this new insert clip aspect of the show.
Dude, I've got a whole bunch of them queued up here. I'm just waiting for it to oh, that's a good point with that. Let's play that there. Michael Brett said Nickelodeon is owned by Netflix, so I won't be surprised if they decide to make a live action Danny Phantom series. That show could be pretty good. That's a show that it could do good. And plus, because it's something that they owned, they're not going to be so inclined to change it so much. I think when you have something that's creator owned, unless you're like friggin', what's her name? The lady that wrote J.K. Rowling, where she's just like retconning her own shit. It's
That lady is a kook.
Dude, did you see that even the LGBTQ community came out and be like, hey, just back off a little bit.
Yeah, everybody's like, just take it easy, JK.
Just chill out, all right? But doesn't Viacom own Nickelodeon? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know shit. Yeah. But
there's so many layers when it comes to companies. You don't know who's.
Yeah. So then, Dan DiDio makes first public comment since DC departure. Let's see what he said. His statement: overwhelmed and humbled by the outpouring of love and support. Really? He must be insulated, man, because most of the comments I saw were like, people were like, it's over.
His newsfeed is different than yours.
Yeah, apparently. So instead, I lost the words for the first time ever. He wrote in public. So instead, I'll turn to what was said nearly 5 years ago on April 10th, 2015. Best sum it up. How I feel. Love to you all. He included a video of 1.5 minute speech he roughly gave 5 years ago. Blah, 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 blah. Well, there was nothing to this. But let me ask you this, John. Let me get your opinion on this. If you go on a show on Friday and you're pushing your company hard and you're talking about 5G and you're talking about this awesome stuff that you're going to do, and then Monday you're out of your office, did you come to a mutual parting of ways, or did you get fired?
I'd have to watch the video. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take your word for it and say that he was super gung ho about it and excited.
Yeah.
Then you got your ass fired.
Yeah. Dude,
but if they're like, hey, we got a lot of great things coming up this year. Don't worry. The company is headed in a good direction. You're going to be very pleased. That kind of thing. Then maybe he already knew. But if you're out there like, woo, when you find out, you're going to lose your shit. Then, he got fired.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was being a little hyperbolic. We're like, it's so great, but he was out, like he was doing what he does. He was pounding the bricks. He's talking, yeah, we got all this great stuff coming out, 5G. We got a lot of real interest in this. And then 2 days later, like it wasn't like he didn't even it was like he went in there and then they were like he was out of his office. It was like that. So
it's been escorted from the building.
Did anybody see him actually get escorted out of the building?
He wasn't escorted from the building, but he literally was like he walked in and he walked out.
That would have been fantastic.
But that leads me to believe that he got fired. Now, could I be wrong? Yeah. But I don't think I am.
Of course you could. You're comic book Bob.
Yeah, I don't know shit. I'm about as dumb as it gets. Let me copy this down here. By the way, guys, to all the people that are in the chat right now, we've got 6 people watching. I can't believe that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But that's big for me, dude. Ever get to the point where I'm in double digit, I'm going to be like crying. But anyway, guys, like I said, there's the...
You're going to be lighting cigars with $100 bills?
Yeah. Yep. Just fanning myself with my money. My fake money. But yeah, anyway, drop the stream in there for you guys. Hey, Galmer, what's up? What's up, dude? It's one of the Gomer's on Comic Cast. That I think it's every Friday. Dude, I'm screwing this up so bad. Anyway, check out, it's on the S&P network. He's a cool dude. Knows his shit. I actually agree with him more than pretty much anybody else on that show as far as opinions are concerned. And I have to, I'll tell you what, just a little tangent on here, man. We were actually talking about the death of Alfred, and I got a video I'm doing on Pennyworth RIP. As much as I hate to admit it, I think you're right, man. I despise the fact that Tom King killed Alfred like he did. I hate that everybody in that book was taking a crap on him. But if we go with the way everything has been written and what has been made, he deserved it. Bruce deserved it. It sucks. I hate that Tom King has written us into that area. I hate the fact that Alfred is dead, but the reaction that everybody had to him was legit. They were all getting the crap kicked out of him, and he's friggin' playing patty cake with friggin' Catwoman in the friggin' Riviera doing yoga with sporting a friggin' Tom Selleck porn stash. So yeah, Batman was an asshole in that whole story. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate it. It's always very appreciated. But anyway, one last thing about the Tom King thing. The Tom King thing. Now it's stuck in my brain. About the Dan DiDio thing. There are a whole mess of rumors. And this is the one that I found most interesting. Marvel Comics rumored to take over DC Comics. Now, I'm going to say this is like 99.99999% bullshit. But it does lead into some interesting territory. So a big rumor has hit the net that in the wake of AT&T firing DiDio, that Marvel and Kevin Feige may take over DC Comics. It's claimed that AT&T wasn't happy at all with Dan DiDio's latest attempt at rebooting comics with the upcoming 5G event, which is 5G would have been awful. I'm just going to come right out there and say that. AKA
is it called 5G because
it was literally called 5G, and everyone's they're like, and DC's like, oh no, it's not like 5G with the cell phone, even though they're owned by AT&T, which I think is bullshit. They're like, it's
kind of embarrassing.
Dude, it's stupid. It's
not that it's like stupid. It's like super embarrassing. It's like you spend all your time and money developing like a brand new roller coaster, and then it says like Hawaiian Punch presents the Death Coaster. You know what I mean? It's so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, man. I'm like, this is not going to happen. Marvel's not going to take over. They're not going to sell that to Marvel. That's like asking the friggin' Fox to guard the hen house. But yeah, it was. They said it's the fifth generation reboot of DC, and I'm like, yeah, dude, don't stop lying. But it was basically what 5G is 5G was going to be their version of Marvel Legacy. They were going to get rid of all of their main characters, all their big characters were going to be replaced with other characters. And I'm like, yeah, did you guys not see how that happened? What happened to Marvel over that crap? Like literally, Axel Alonso got fired for that crap. The company, the comic print line tanked. So it's not a good idea. And I have to wonder, man, considering that you look at the people that DiDio was bringing in over the last year or two. Guys like Tom King, guys like Brian Michael Bendis. Bendis was a big part of Marvel Legacy. Gotta wonder if he didn't get into Dan's ear and put that idea in his head.
Well, I mean, that's what you do as a supervisor boss. Everybody has supposed to have your ear to some extent. Yeah.
It's like C2. Gomez said C2E2 is in 3 days. We'll know more then. Yeah. BC is reporting that generation is still happening and that AT&T, Warner Brother higher-ups are 100% on board, but who knows? That is from what I understand, 5G is still going forward. And we really don't know for certain. Like, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's going forward, maybe it's not. But from what a little bit I have been able to glean, it is still going forward, but there's a lot of rumors that it's going to be seriously altered. And it may not be a company-wide like it was really going to be now. It may now be kind of like a side, like an event book, like a side story, but kind of like a Marvel's Ultimate Universe thing. It'll be a little thing on
still
the side.
Sizable then.
What's that?
So still sizable.
Still, well, it's not going to be it's not going to be a continuously run thing. And now it would be like a kind of like a mini series, maybe like a 10, 12 issue mini series that's run through different books or something like that. But then once it's done, it's done. There's a whole bunch of rumors on what this thing is going to be. Right now, though, it's all up in the air because nobody knows who the hell's in charge. Because I can guarantee you, man, Jim Lee, like as you know, as snarky as that title was, that's pretty much exactly what happened. Jim Lee came back from a 4-day friggin' vacation and found out he was the only friggin' editor in chief. And he's like, "Wait, what? The hell, man? I don't want to do this," you know. But yeah, it's like there's so many different rumors about this going on. But this one is the whole idea about them giving Marvel the comic books and having them do that I think is absolute crap. But like we touched on before, I can see them farming the books out to a third party, having them take care of all the headaches and everything. Basically, they just continue to own the property rights, but the comics are produced by someone like an IDW. That I can absolutely see happening. It is a fun rumor. It is. It's like holy crap, dude. Can you imagine?
So then why not Marvel? Why something like IDW?
Well, because Marvel's like their direct competitor.
But if they're not anymore, then it doesn't really matter.
I just don't see it though, man. I mean, it's like I said, like why would Marvel do good books for a competitor's company when they're like, no, man, we got our own shit. We're gonna push our own stuff. But anyway, get back into it a little bit. So it said that DiDio butted heads with Batman writer Scott Snyder over the 5G reboot. That is true. As Snyder didn't want his comics involved with the event, which caused problems at DC. That was part of the internal power struggle going on. And it was basically kind of the same thing that happened with New 52 when he wanted to kill off Nightwing, and the creative team of Nightwing were like, no, we don't want to do that. Real quick, just want to touch in the chat here. Your friendly neighborhood ninja, thanks for stopping by, guys. Hey Bob, good show you got going. I could see Marvel and DC working together. Why not? They're losing money anyway, and I thought IDW was going to do books for Marvel. My IDW is doing books for Marvel. They've been doing books for Marvel for a while now. Yeah, Heroes and let's see here. Listen, okay, see Heroes and Star Wars. Young reader stuff. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Gomer. If DC does away with legacy characters, I might boycott them. Seriously, dude. That's the reason why I don't think the plan going forward is going to be for 5G to be company wide anymore. I think it's going to be just like a self-contained storyline thing that happens, and then it's going to be done. It's going to be kind of like a what if storyline, but it's going to be like run through multiple books, and then once it's done, it's done. That's one of the rumors that I've heard, but I mean, like I said, who knows, man? They may just go forward with the original idea. So Friday saw DiDio call into AT&T Warner Brothers office where he was fired and let go from DC Comics, which saw DiDio exit the grounds immediately. See, that's what I'm saying. That's the third article I've seen where they said that he called into Warner Brothers office and he was immediately he left immediately. He walked out.
Yeah, it's not like he stopped and said bye to people and
yeah.
No,
He just and to be fair, man, if you were there for almost 20 years and you got fired, you're not going to sit there and be happy about it.
no.
You're going to take off. By the way, John, that is a kick-ass friggin' Phantom piece, man.
Out the hell with you. What's the matter? You don't know the buckler when you see him? This is actually going to be this is my idea for the buckler cover.
Yeah,
So.
Tell me the hell with me, man.
Hey, the hell.
Take a hike. No, but seriously, man.
Freaking comic book Bill over here.
Oh. Eat
Oh, you're gonna talk about the buckler out of his name, are you?
All right. But yep, I just gave you the screen there for a second there. Pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. I heard that Marvel and DC might be getting a crossover soon. That's another one of the plans that was in place, Michael, and I don't know if that's going forward now that he's out. I mean, we'll see. Marvel's using a lot of that now. Secret Crisis is rumored, but I doubt that it happens. I'd love to see it, though. That would be pretty cool. I would like to see Secret Crisis. But it said the AT&T is considering using Hollywood movies and TV writers in the DC Comics. That's another thing that I heard, that they're talking about having like James Gunn, like yeah, right here it says James Gunn come in and write a comic. Berlanti, who's like largely responsible for the Arrowverse, him coming in. J.J. Abrams coming in to do a comic would be awful. And this statement right here is actually kind of Abrams could write comics such as how Abrams recently wrote Spider-Man with his son for Marvel. That was a big success. Okay, the problem is yeah, it was a big success because his name was attached to it. But the minute, like at this point, the sales on the book have started to tank. I mean, it's still selling fairly decent, but it's also been pushed back like 2 months, and that's leading a lot of people to believe that it's not JJ's son that's writing it. It's JJ himself. And he's so busy. He's like, yeah, I can't do it right now, son. But so basically JJ Abrams just, got his son a friggin' Spider-Man comic on his name only. But yeah, and it is bad, man. It's I'm not a fan of it. It's another one of those books where they're deconstructing the hero.
Again?
Dude, that's all they know how to do. That's all. A lot of these writers, man, that's all they know how to do is like, yeah, we're going to take these paragons and we're going to turn them into us. And it's like, yeah, I'm not paying $5-6 a pop a month for that. So eat a dick.
But, see, why don't they just do what I did? Like, I really wanted to do a self-insert, but I'm a horrible, awful person. So I made my character a villain,
It is claimed that AT is also contemplating is getting out of the publishing side of everything altogether and farming DC Comics out. I honestly think that that's where this is going. I think if something doesn't change in the near future, that's what's going to happen. We're going to see they're going to farm stuff out, and DC will not become a separate company anymore. They'll become a print line.
Yeah,
and they'll farm out the monthly stuff to another company, and then they'll just print trades because the trades are already done. It's 100% profit. Why wouldn't you just do that? And then you keep the properties, and you just make your comic books and not your comics, but your video games, your television shows, and your movies. So IDW could publish Marvel and DC Comics. Yeah, dude. Or it could be, dude, they could farm it out to anybody. They could farm it out to Dynamite. They could farm it out to Dark Horse. They could farm it out to Image.
Yep.
I mean, there's a whole lot of possibilities there, man. From the neighbor Spider-Man said, I remember when back in the day, Marvel and DC did the Amalgaverse. I did miss Dark Claw. That was a funny. Yeah, some of the stuff that came out of the Amalgaverse was kind of interesting. Like I liked Dark Claw. I liked was it Super Soldier, the Captain America, Superman amalgam. That was pretty cool. But Amazon's attack made a great trade for Amazon attack made a great trade for an idiot. Okay. But yeah, I think that's where this is going to go. I think that's what we're going to see. If something doesn't change. Now it depends. Like, we don't know who's going to, it depends on who they put in charge. Like, if they put Jeff Johns in charge, I could see DC Comics making a turnaround. I don't know who. I mean, like, right off the top of my head, I don't know who else could come in and do something like that. And like some of the names have been tossed around were Mark Wolfman. I think Denny was another name that was tossed around. I mean, what do you think, John? I mean, who do you think could come in and right the ship at DC?
No, dude, like, no bullshit. I think that Lee could do it.
Jim?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Jim is the only person that's actually out there right now that has a recognizable name that's out there on social media already doing his stuff. And the thing is, I listen to him all the time. I watch the show a lot, that VZA. Oh, yeah. Right. And I don't hear him having awful ideas. He sounds very professional. He sounds very level-headed. And when he does give stories, I'm actually interested when he's talking.
Jim is a good idea, man. But as far as I just don't think he wants to run the friggin' show. I think Jim wants to be Stan Lee.
But do you remember that? that video he made? It was a little cringy where he was going around the Walmart fixing the stacks of books.
Yeah, I remember.
You know what I mean? But why would you do that? Why would you do that unless you got a deep love for what you do and you want people to to think about your company and be interested in it.
Mhm.
I think he does. I think absolutely he would. Maybe that's not like his main goal, but I think absolutely he would take it and do a good job with it.
He absolutely loves the industry. I mean, my God, it's been his life for what, like 25, 30 years almost.
Yeah.
So, and he's still today, he's still one of the biggest names in comics. His touching a comic book interiors is almost guaranteed to increase its sales by like 10,000, 20,000 issues.
Yeah.
10, 20,000 copies. But I don't think I just looking at the way he's done things since going to DC, I don't think he's interested in running the company day to day. I don't think he's interested in that. Now, I think a lot of the ideas that come out have his input in them, and I think Art did when Art did his show, he actually talked to it. I was hoping I could get Art to come on here, but he's busy as hell. So, but I don't think I don't think Jim wants to be that guy. I think he wants to be the hype man. I think he wants to be the Stan Lee of DC Comics. I think that's where he's happy. Now, if he has to, he'll step in. I think, they could convince him to do it. But I also don't think Dan from a pure I think Dan's good at I think Jim's good at coming up with interesting ideas and interesting concepts, but he needs somebody to take those concepts and turn them into something great. Like a good example would be when he was doing Wildstorm. Stormwatch, when he first created it, interesting idea. Execution of it wasn't that great until he brought in Warren Ellis. And Warren Ellis took that book and turned it into something awesome. Right. And then eventually out of that came Planetary, and then out of that came The Authority, which was a great book. So good idea, man. Great hype, man. Fantastic artist. I just don't think he's the guy to run the company, at least not alone. Because, like I said, I think Jim was that guy that threw some creative input on certain things, did the projects that he was interested in, things that he wanted to do, but was the absolute best hype man for DC you could get. And I think that's the role that he's comfortable in. So I don't think he's going to want to be the guy to step in there. But real quick, someone mentioned it in here. I sincerely believe that this changes nothing, at least for the foreseeable. We still get 5G. We still get a new Crisis. We still get replacements for a limited time. That's possible, dude. I absolutely think that like I said, and you got to remember too that a lot of this is already in play. A lot of this stuff that with 5G is already the beginning of the implementation of it is already there.
It's already gone to the printers.
Well, I don't think it's going to the printers. I think they were beginning
right back.
their steps to it, but I don't think that it's going to. I don't think it's going to be what it was. I think it's going to be seriously altered, and especially with the product with things like Pattinson's Batman coming out, all the different new shows and stuff that they're doing, the video games and stuff that they're doing. They don't want these characters to be unrecognizable. So I think they're going to they'll do the 5G thing, but I don't think it's going to be as massive a change as it was originally going to be, and I definitely think it's not going to last. See who else here? Marv Wolfman and Dan DiDio has a history, and Marv hates Dan. Yeah, he does. Marv Wolfman and Dan DiDio had they were at each other's throats for a while, and Dan. If you go back and you look at a lot of the stuff that was done in New 52, it killed a lot of Marv Wolfman's creations, or seriously altered them, what he did to the Teen Titans and what he did to Nightwing and Young Justice, and especially Tim Drake was just awful. That's one of the big issues that I had with New 52 and DiDio's run on that. But the Friendly Neighborhood Ninja said Jim Lee equals Stan Lee. Oh my God, Stan is Jim's father. Now we have a conspiracy for Chester. Dude, I still know people that think that, like you say, Jim Lee is like, is that Stan Lee's kid? I'm like, I don't know. They don't look anything alike.
I think more people get confused when you say Stan Lee and they think he's Chinese.
Yeah. I think the replacements will be very temporary, but I think that was always the plan, part of the plan. From my understanding, it was still going to be like a year, at least a year-long thing. But yeah, time's going to tell. Like at this point, regardless of whatever it was going to be, I think whatever it was going to be is going to be seriously altered, especially if somebody like Scott Snyder or Jeff Johns gets pushed. Because I know that Jeff Johns he's got to be on the short list for people to step into that role at this point. And then, like some people said, that Kevin Feige may develop some of the DC. That's bullcrap. Just this December, saw Jeff Johns tease a DC Marvel crossover in the last issue of Doomsday Clock. Perhaps Jeff Johns' Doomsday Clock was counting down to the doom of DC. No, I think that's just. I think that was just Jeff being cheeky and kind of throwing something interesting in there. But yeah.
So how surprised would you be if AT&T steps in and like we're all wrong and they put in like some regional manager who was really good at sales for AT&T?
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Just in charge of DC Comics.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
And then it does gangbusters.
If it does now, if they put like some friggin' pencil neck bean counter,
they put some pencil pusher up there, and he's like, "What is this? This isn't comic books. I thought comic books were about big boobies. Put more big boobies on these comic books."
if they put some pencil pusher, and trust me, that wouldn't shock me at all if they did that. But if they put some pencil pusher in charge, and suddenly DC Comics was selling like 250,000 copies an issue, I'd be like stunned.
Well, you put some pencil pusher in there, and then you find out he has a basement full of long boxes. And this guy's like, yeah.
I knew one day if I kissed enough ass, I'd make it. Oh my God, man.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Good one.
But I mean, if that happened, I would not be not be surprised at the pencil pusher thing, because that's what they did with the film side. Is they wouldn't have got an executive and replaced Jeff Johns with her. Mm-hmm. But doing well, yeah, I would be. You could knock me over with anything.
You can dream.
Yeah,
there's always hope.
Excuse me. I'm gonna choke to death over here for a second. Okay, so yeah, I mean, at this point, man, like we know that there was a big falling out between him and Scott Snyder. We also know that when Jeff Johns stepped in, this is something that happened a while back, and R.T. Barry actually touched on this. He actually talked about it, which is one of the reasons why I was hoping he would come on here. Jeff Johns was talking to them about all the stuff that they were doing in Hollywood and telling them to, like, listen, like none telling all the writers and creators, listen, none of this stuff is going to affect your books. None of this is going to affect your stories. You guys do your things, and everything's cool. Don't worry about it. He would leave, and then Dan DiDio would come in and say, "Yeah, guys, don't listen to him." Basically, he was cutting him down at the knees behind his back. So that created a lot of tension between him and Dan DiDio. So when Jeff went back to doing comic books again, the rumor is that he still has his contacts at Warner and AT&T, and he was kind of talking in the background to them about DiDio's plans and how they're a terrible idea. Which and to be honest, I agree with him. I don't replacing the characters when you've got these high profile projects coming out. That's a terrible idea, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already gone over the reasons for that. Then there was also the stuff with Snyder. There was a lot of fan backlash. A lot of creators coming out saying they weren't happy about the idea. Because I know Snyder wasn't the only one who was upset with that. Then there's the debacle with books like Doomsday Clock being like a year and a half late. Like that was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Dude, that killed any momentum that book had.
Yeah, I got issues 1 and 2, and then I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Never mind, I guess."
Yeah, I got them all, but I'm like, that's like when I did that video. I was like, yeah, 3 years in the making. It's freaking ridiculous. But at this point, I think everybody's just kind of in a holding pattern to see where the next shoe is going to drop. Because, I mean, like I said, man, I love Jim Lee. I think he's a fantastic creator. He's a great hype man. I just don't see him as the guy running the company. But, if that happens, we'll see what happens. But here's the other thing, man. Are we done seeing the heads roll?
I don't know what their company structure is like, how many other people you would have to get rid of to affect a change like that, or is it just him?
That's what I'm saying, though, man. What happens if we get like next week, Jim Lee gets a call and he's gone? Like, that's going to send everything into chaos.
Yeah, that would get rid of a lot of continuity at the company.
Well, not only that, but like I said, Jim Lee's arguably the biggest, like he's one of the biggest name in comics, period. And he's without a doubt the biggest name over at DC right now. So what happens if he gets ousted?
That sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah. Do you put it past a company to do something stupid? It's like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah, oh, shit, man. Now you got me worried.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like, I think the way it happened, the way that Dan was just gone like that sounds to me like some people just looking to chop heads. So, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen because you don't want to remove the entire power structure, at least not that fast. But I mean, I honestly, everything right now is just speculating. Like I said, like this is just us speculating about stuff. But the fact that the way that this happened and the fact that it happened so fast, anything's possible now. Like they may just come in and just close the doors on the company, which I don't think that's going to happen. But still, it's like they've thrown a friggin' wrench into the works, man. But the other thing, so I wanted to use that to segue into this because I suck at segues. But Dan DiDio was not the only big departure this week. So Bob Chapman takes over as Disney CEO while Bob Iger steps down. So Bob Iger.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, dude. Bob Iger is out. He's gone, man.
Not out like on temporary?
No, he is gone. Bob Iger. So Walt Disney Company Board of Directors announced today that Bob Chapman has been named Chief Executive Officer of the Walt Disney Company effective immediately. Mr. Chapman most recently served as Chairman of Disney Parks, Experiences, and Products. Robert A. Iger assumes the role of Executive Chairman and will direct the company's creative endeavors while leading the board and providing the full benefit of his experience, leadership, and guidance to ensure a smooth transition through the end of his contract on December 31st, 2021. Basically, they're beginning the transition to get him out completely. So with the successful launch of Disney's direct-to-consumer business and the 21st Century Fox underway, this is the time to transition to a new CEO. So Bob Iger is stepping down. So
I don't know what that means. Is that
I don't know.
I mean, Bob Iger, Disney has been having red letter days every day under Bob Iger.
Yeah.
As much money as they didn't make with Star Wars, they quadrupled with all their other properties.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it was Bob's idea?
I don't know, man. I mean, how old is Bob Iger? Let me take a look real quick here. I mean, he's got more money than God.
Like, I wouldn't say that's somebody that's like in the zone of getting fired. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he's almost 70. He's 69 years old. He's almost 70. He'll be actually. He just turned 69. So, I mean, he's getting to that point where you want to start thinking about, spending the rest of your years doing something else. But that was just like, again, it was just kind of like a shot. It just came out of the blue. See this. If this said no with Bob Iger gone, Marvel's Joe Quesada could go. This doesn't give me hope, man. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. A lot of people saw this and they were like, "Whoa, this
like remember when they were trying to Me Too John Lasseter?
Yeah,
And he had to take a little like a sabbatical.
Yep.
Well, he was good, but then nothing ever came of it. I mean, Lasseter is just way too big.
Yeah, he also did the smart thing. It was like right at the beginning of the whole Me Too thing, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm just going to out until all this blows over."
Yeah.
But with Iger, man, Iger was one of those people that everyone was looking to get rid of people like Kathleen Kennedy, or keep her in check, or try to keep her in check or something like that. This, and then there's and there were some other big announcements. Like, did you see the whole the new Star Wars project they're doing?
I saw a picture of something. Yeah, something. What is it called?
The High Republic.
Yeah, something Republic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a stupid name.
Yeah. I guess Bob will be the seventh CEO in Disney's nearly 100 history. Proved himself. Blah 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 blah. Iger has beefed up Disney's already strong content library with several important acquisitions. Yeah, Bob Iger, like Bob Iger's the guy who was largely behind the acquisition of Marvel. He was behind the acquisition of Lucasfilm. He was one of the major driving forces behind the acquisition of 20th Century Fox, Pixar. Like, the dude is like a money-making machine for Disney.
Yeah.
So him leaving, that's gotta like I said, man, there's so much speculation on what's gonna happen.
Like, if anything, I'm gonna have to lean towards it was his decision.
Yeah, I think he's in such a power position. Like, he's not going anywhere unless he wants to go.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that him leaving isn't going to have some serious ripples. This said Bob Iger is also the main guy that protects Joe Quesada from losing his job. Yeah, he is. I don't know. Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, does anybody? I mean, I don't know anything about this guy that's taken over for him.
What's his name?
This Bob Chapek. I don't know jack about this dude.
Never heard of him.
Susan Arnold, independent lead director of the Disney board, said the board has been actively engaging in succession plans for the past several years. So this has actually been a long time in the making, apparently. And after consideration of internal and external candidates, we unanimously elected Bob Chapek as the next CEO. Has shown outstanding leadership and proven ability to deliver strong results across a wide array of businesses with its tremendous understanding and the breadth and depth of the company. Blah 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 blah. What was his original title? They set it up here.
Look at this. Look at what's on my screen right now. It says the company made the surprise announcement around 4 p.m. The stocks dropped.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. That was one of the other big stories. Is that the stock took a nosedive because like the money.
Yeah, Bob Iger is not getting fired.
Yeah.
He's quitting.
Okay, so he was Chapek was the chairman of Disney Parks Experiences and Products. Okay, Disney Parks Experiences and Products. So he's the guy that was kind of overseeing Galaxy's Edge. He's the guy that was kind of overseeing some of the other.
Yeah, this doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want if he was the guy. If Galaxy's Edge was his idea. That's a good idea there, man. Segment includes Disney iconic. During his tenure at parks, oversaw the opening of Disney's first theme park and resort in mainland China, Shanghai Disney Resort. Also, the creation of new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney, and the addition of Marvel-inspired attractions around the globe. The expansion of the Disney Cruise Line with the announced construction of 3 new ships. Ugh.
That Disney Cruise Line makes bank.
Yeah, it does. Well, that's actually only like did you ever see that there's these people that, obviously that's actually something that Chester could do for his tinfoil talk, the TFT show, is the Disney conspiracy of Disney being a secret third world power. Because remember Jim and Dave, Tom did that thing where they figured out like all Disney needed to be considered a first world power would be to grow 20% more of their own food and have a nuke.
Yeah,
because they already have their own government, they have their own police force, they have their own navy,
they have their own justice
air
system.
force, they have their own space, they have their own space program, because the top four floors of Epcot Center are actually ready.
I don't know. I seen a video about Toontown that makes me believe their police force is not very strong.
Well, it's either that or they enjoy sowing chaos. But like, if you just like took those things and factored everything, and like all of it together was something like all they needed was like 20% to grow like 20% more of their own food, because they grow almost all their own food for their theme parks and stuff. They needed like to grow like 20% more food and have a tactical nuke, and they would technically be considered a first world country. It's pretty insane how much friggin' power they have, man. They have like a ton of money. They have so much influence around the world.
Mm-hmm.
But so this said, well, with Marvel Comics in the dumps and the fall of the last year's Star Wars films, both Joe Quesada and Kathleen could lose their jobs now that their main production Bob is gone. I don't know, man. That project that they're doing, the Star Wars, the
High Republic.
High Republic. I couldn't. It's so forgettable. I couldn't even remember the name. That has like friggin' Kathleen Kennedy's fingerprints, like her DNA all over that thing, man. Like the big thing that's going around. The Red Gaze did a really good video on it, where he broke it down, and because there's this big board that they put up, and like all over this, like one of the very first things that says diversity, and then over this says like diversity is on this thing like 4 times, like 3 times, man.
No, it's on it twice.
Is it on it twice? I thought there was another when there was. Oh no, Feelings. Feelings was the other one. Yeah.
Also anti-war.
Anti-war. I'm like, it's Star Wars.
It's Star
Wars. Yeah.
Star Peace.
The arguably most well-perceived movie of the new movies was the one that was like literally a war movie. You know? So it's like, the hell are you smoking, man? But
that's why it's the High Republic.
Smoking that High Republic.
Dude, I saw that friggin' board and I was just like,
what? What the fuck? You're getting better with the timing, I'll give you that.
But yeah, man, like I don't know what to take of this. What do you think about this thing with Iger stepping down, man? Are they right to like is it right for the stock to drop and people to panic?
Yeah.
Well, it is if this is the way they did it, then it is. This article makes it sound like, from what you read there, that this has been planned for a while.
Yeah.
If you're going to do this, you let people know you've been planning it for a while. You don't announce it and then go, oh yeah, it was in the works, because your stock will drop. It was just a bad move on their part.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and the other thing,
I bet you any money Disney bought up all those stocks.
That's a possibility. Yeah.
Well, now you're getting into some real conspiracy theory territory. Is like, are they doing it deliberately to tank so that they can make some quick money off of this or something? Like, I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, and it sounds like
it was probably Bob Iger's idea.
He's not going to be completely gone until
Bob Iger says, "You know what, guys, take it out. This is how we're going to recover that Star Wars money." We're gonna...
Dude, did I tell you how the most famous thing that I've done, and like I got into an argument with Rob Liefeld over Star Wars, whether or not it's made money or not. And here's the thing: at this point, Star Wars, I think they're making money now. I think they're finally at the point where they're starting to make money off of the franchise. And we all knew that they were eventually going to, because they're like, it's Disney, man. like I said, Disney ain't in the business of losing money.
And it's Star Wars.
And
I
it's
mean,
Star Wars.
you've really got to bury that under a rock somewhere for it not to make money.
Yeah, it just because of the things that they did, it just took longer than I think they expected it to.
Yeah.
And there's definitely been a downturn in like the sales and whatnot, but it is to the point now where it's making money. But I just think it took a lot longer for them to get there. But yeah, man, like this guy, I don't think it could be overstated how big of a deal this guy stepping down is, man. He's stepping down effective immediately, and then he's going to be an executive chairman through 2021, and then he's gone. So they've got a year to make sure that this thing doesn't completely blow up in their face. Yeah, it says right here, shares of Disney fell about 2.5% after hours. So yeah, man, I don't know, man, some crazy stuff this week. But yeah, it's to the point now, like I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop, man. You know, like what's the next big bombshell that's going to drop on us?
You can tell.
Yeah, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. But yeah, DiDio out. You know that there's going to be a whole lot of politics going on in there for people. Some people vying, jockeying for position, man. But crazy week. But we're at an hour and a half, man. Holy crap! This went on for a long time. John.
Yes, sir.
I told you 2 weeks ago that I was going to let you come on and push the Canadian Shield and the Canadian Buckler, and I shit the bed on that. So, sir, the floor is yours.
Oh, God damn it, I'm not ready. All right, well, let me tell you guys something here. And this is a big deal, so I really want you guys to pay attention closely. It's a very big deal. There's a guy in our community by the name of Rick Piper. He's been here since day one. Like, I met this guy probably like 2+ years ago. And he has a channel. He's independent comic CG to the core. He's like just constantly grinding every day. He does 2 shows every single day. Hasn't missed a day in 3 months where he missed 1 show because he had to go to the doctor. He was wearing 2 pairs of glasses and he got the opportunity to get a pair of glasses. So and that was the only reason he missed a day. You know, and he's been plugging away, and now he's finally ready to let his book drop. And he did so, and it's called The Canadian Shield Issue 1. And right now it's live on Indiegogo. It's going to be live for the next 11 days. He's already extended it. He is about $700 away from funding, and he put a very reasonable amount of $2,000 to get this book funded. And but it is a fixed goal. So if it doesn't make it, he's not going to get it, and all the money gets refunded. So I really would appreciate, and if you guys would just go take a look, just go take a look at the Indiegogo, and if you like it, if you like what Rick's all about, then support it. He's making very simple comics for younger readers, and they're very Christian based. Like all of his heroes, because he has an entire universe he's going to set up, and all of his heroes are very Christian based, and eventually they're all going to team up and become the Holy Warriors. And so he has a whole universe planned out. He's planning on funding artists and writers and kind of outsourcing everything, because he's not that skilled. So he knows it. So he's trying to get enough money together to fund book 2, essentially, because book 1's already done. And I'm trying to help him out. So I'm putting together an ash can, a 12-page, well, it's actually going to be a 14-page ash can of my character, the one you're looking at here, the Buckler, the Canadian Buckler, who's going to be kind of like a spoof character on his. And I'm putting that book in there for free. So if you go in there and you back the book, all the money's going to go to Rick. I'm not going to get anything. And if you do back the Canadian Shield at any physical tier, I'm going to be chopping up the original pages to my ash can and shipping those out to anybody that backed at the physical level.
Cool. Excellent. I dropped the link in there, guys. Yeah, go check it out. And if it looks like something you're interested in, maybe drop some shekels on that there. But that page looks awesome too, by the way, man. That Canadian Buckler page.
Yeah. This is going to be, I'm thinking this is going to be the cover.
Nice
I wish to God I could draw cities that well. Backgrounds, I suck at. But yeah, check that out, guys. This week, as far as comics are concerned, I didn't have much in the way of the pull list. I got the first 2 the trades for. Well, let me make myself up here. I got the first 2 trades for Die. If you're a big tabletop gamer like I am, big into Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of thing, this is a really, really good graphic novel, guys. They're pretty cheap too, man. I got the book 1 was $10, and then book 2, I believe, was 15. So $25. I got both these trades, and they're pretty beefy too, man. But really good book, love it. Check that one out. And it was a little bit of a smattering of everything, man. I got some indie stuff. I got the second issue. I got the penultimate issue of Rags from Antarctic Press. This is issue 6 of 7. Good book there. Again, another Dungeons and Dragons book, Infernal Tides. Picked this up because I'm a nerd. And also because it's got Max Dunbar's artwork in it. Max Dunbar is freaking awesome. Love this. Look at this. I don't know if this is going to do it justice, but check this page out. This double page spread.
Nice.
That's friggin' awesome, dude. That's they're actually it's an invasion into Avernus, which, if you know anything about Dungeons, that's basically the Dungeons and Dragons equivalent to hell. But
you know what? Can I show something real quick?
Yeah, hang on.
All right, let me move this back a little smidge here.
There you go, Spuddy. Oh God, get me off of that screen.
It's a delay.
Speaking of double page spread, Rick Piper, if you see, he has a tier where he's going to send out an actual action figure for his thing, and it's a $300 tier. But nobody's purchased it yet, so I decided that I'm working right now on this double page spread.
Nice.
And this is going to be the shield coming down and wrecking house, and this is going to be the only double page spread in the little ash can. And anybody who backs his book at the $300 tier, I am going to get this framed and shipped out to them at no cost. Wow. So if you back that, you'll get this double page spread as a bonus.
God, man, I got to get better at ink. I got to get better at everything. Like I can draw pretty much anything I want at this point, but it takes way too long, and then I try to ink it, and it ends up looking like a foot. But it's so bad, dude. I got a project I was working on, and I was so happy with the way the pencils came out, and then I start inking it, and I'm like, But then I got some mainstream stuff. I got the last issue of Flash Forward, which I was kind of upset with. I got to talk about this one later on the pull list. Bloodshot. I think this is the second to the last issue that Brett Booth's doing the pencils for. Actually, a pretty good book. So I got those. Pull list was kind of weak this week. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's pretty much our show this week. Appreciate everybody for being here. Appreciate the fact that so many people stopped in and doing the guys. You made me happy as hell. John, appreciate you coming in and giving us your insight, sir. Tom, you gotta
always here.
Be more of a mainstream guy. I need to be able to bounce my ideas off you and have you just be like, okay.
Well, I'm about to say you can bounce your ideas off my fine ass down here.
You mean Nightwing's fine ass down there?
It's mine now. My head's on it.
One last thing, I'll just jump in here real quick in the chat. This is said I can now draw stick men. Seriously, I suck at drawing. Dude, everybody sucks at it when they first start. But thanks for being here, guys.
This isn't true. Else. Don't listen to him.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, guys. It's greatly appreciated. And like I said, we'll see you guys next week. Please like and share this out. Definitely helps us grow. And leave a comment on the comment section once it's posted up, and tell us what you're interested in. We'll try to put it in the next video. So see you guys next week.
See you later.
Take care. Bye.